Check it out. EV Evidence, Dilated Peoples, live and direct, Breaking Records Radio, CA all day. Let's go.
What's up? This is Derek.
Jamie Madrock.
Man, this your man's Obi Trice.
This is Ad-Lib.
Yo, what up? This is Spex One.
This is Spesh K.
Hot Rock's the motherfucking Skot MC.
Breaking
Records.
Breaking Records Radio out here.
This is Breaking Records Radio.
Check them out, man.
All right, Breaking Records Radio in the place to be. You know what it is, your host Maloney, and we got a special guest right now. We got the man Evidence, Dilated Peoples in the place right now. How's it going, my man?
Doing good. Just fresh off the show, so I'm just calming down. Right?
Yeah, you're just coming down off that high. That was an amazing set, my man.
Good looks.
I know we've already been talking, we've already told you this shit, but yeah, that set was crazy, brother.
Thank you, G.
That was phenomenal. So one thing I did want to ask you about, because I have a lot of friends who are really into the tagging and the graffiti, and I know that you were really big into graffiti before you really started doing the music thing.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of curious, like, who are some of your favorite artists or biggest inspirations as far as the graffiti goes?
I don't know how the graffiti names travel over state and country lines, you know, but around my neighborhood, there were the obvious kings when I was coming up, who were like Risk and Slick and Skill and Hex and Dream, and just like real big names who were going up real hard. Sleaze and Gesso, Chaka. You could name a lot of people who were really killing it. I don't know if those names ring bells anymore, but at the time they were really notable for what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, dope, man.
Eclipse, a couple other people, yeah.
I feel like a few of those names are recognizable to me, but like to the graffiti people, I feel like they really...
Yeah, and that's early 90s, mid 90s
yeah.
stuff, you know what I mean? So.
That's dope, man. And do you still do the graffiti? You still...
I mean, I draw,
personally?
I got a book, and I just did my first little piece for my son. It says...
For your son?
Yeah, it says Enzo.
Oh, dope. Yo!
I got the old school style, you know what I mean? But
that's dope. That's so clean.
Can we zoom in on it? Yeah, so that's like just trying. Like I keep drawing forever, but I'm not out trying.
You're not bombing illegally no more. Yeah.
There's no reason to.
What do you think about? Did you see what H&M?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, fuck H&M, word up.
Yeah.
I mean, just from the shit they did previous to that, with the racist shit, I'm already off them. Then this, like, it's like, yeah, fuck.
That's just bullshit, eh?
Yeah, they're fucking up.
And did you see the people tag the front of the H&M stores too? Right. Bomb that? That's what I said. I'm like, bravo to y'all. That's crazy. I tried to do my graffiti thing for a little bit, but you know, it just wasn't.
I mean, there's people like, I do music, so for me it's not fair because it's like, the way I put all my energy into music, someone's putting all their energy into graffiti. You know what I mean? And they're giving that their all. So there's no way I can even compete if I wanted to. You know what I mean? So yeah, salute to the people who made it their main thing and didn't stray away from it. They get a lot of respect, you know?
And was there any reason that you decided to go to music opposed from taking the graffiti route to express?
I was pretty good. I think you know what I think you can sense what you're going to be pretty good at and what you
excel
at. Yeah. You know, and so once music started happening and getting arrested wasn't tight, and I just felt like this was still under the hip-hop umbrellas. You know what I mean? It was funny. I was like, this is more of a natural evolution.
Yeah, you're not going to be arrested for doing shows and making beats.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Hopefully not, yeah. Word up, man. And your mother was an actress growing up?
Yeah, she was.
So, do you feel like that kind of influenced the artistic... on you?
She was an actress before I was born.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think when she had me, she realized that lifestyle was going to take her away from that, and so she gave it up to be a mom, which was really crazy.
Oh, word, okay.
You know, something that now that I get older, I really respect.
Really respect, yeah.
But then she also picked up photography.
Oh,
and
okay.
So she was a renowned photographer. That's what she was most known for, and she was really successful. And so yeah, I think that's where the creative side comes from. My mom, my dad he's a wild New York, Brooklyn kind of guy. You know.
So he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, the creative side's not from him. That's for sure. It's from my mom. You know what I mean?
And so is that why you guys lived in the West Coast then? Like, was she, you know, like being near Hollywood and that kind of idea?
They were both from Brooklyn, and when they met in Los Angeles, I think that's why she was so attracted to him, probably meeting somebody who was kind of more like her.
Well, her walk of the road, yeah.
So I got to go to Brooklyn every summer of my life, pretty much from like 2 till 12 or 13 or 14. Every summer, go there and see my other side of my family. So I got
So you really got the early hip hop influence.
Yeah, I would come back to LA a little bit different than some of my friends who didn't get to see that.
And you probably had the tapes and the records. Everybody else is like, how the fuck you got that?
And then the East Coast sound really was what made me love hip hop more. So I was a West Coast rapper, emulating the East a lot more than a lot of my friends were. So that always made me a little different. Also.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one thing I was going to ask you about too, and that makes complete sense now that you say it, is because Dilated Peoples and up to your solo stuff, you guys have always had more of an East Coast flavor than a West Coast flavor.
Yeah.
But you represent the West Coast still. But I think that's dope how you guys like...
But see, my favorite group was EPMD, and I loved how they were from New York but had a West Coast sound. Right?
Yeah,
and
with
so,
the funk samples.
Yeah, so you didn't... It's good to keep them guessing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned EPMD because I came here once to see them.
Yeah.
And this is before I lived in Toronto. We got to the doors and there's a sign on the front door saying the show's canceled tonight. We're like, fuck! And like, I mean, I've seen them since, but this is before I ever got to see them. That was a heartbreak for me.
Word up.
But so to keep it moving a little bit, you actually co-produced on the College Dropout.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that till I read that.
Yeah, I think it says co-production. It should have said... does it say co or just does it say produced by together? Either way, yes, I was a part of the record.
You produced the record?
Well, no, he does deserve to have his name before me, and I'll explain why for sure. We were making that song This Way where Kanye was on the Dilated.
Yeah.
And then during that time, we were going to the studio together. So I was driving one day and I just said Jay-Z was making Black Album. You're supposed to be retiring.
Yeah.
So I had a beat that was saying Mr. Rockefeller, and I was saying, yo, can you play this for Jay-Z because you're the only person I know who could get it to him.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, no, actually, I think I'm the new Mr. Rockefeller. I think I'm keeping it. You know, and I'm just like, who are you, man? You know, because you got to understand, Through the Wire wasn't even a video yet. You know what I mean? So it's like...
So this is that ambitious Kanye that everybody
so when people
talks
say
about.
he's an asshole, he's always been. He didn't change for nobody. Like, this has always been him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and then it's funny because College Dropout to me is a bigger record than the Black Album if you go back in history.
Yeah.
You know, and so where he really stepped in was the sample didn't clear. And at that point, I tapped out, and that's when he stepped in and hired musicians and had it replayed and fucking added drums and sounds and basses and fucking strings. And he really just like went all the way in and kind of showed me like how far you can go.
How far you could go.
Because I would have stopped at a certain part, and he just kept going. So when it says produced by him and me, I think he deserves that. Although I brought the beat that you know to him.
Yeah.
But it didn't have he put the Just to Get By drums on top of my drums. He did all kind of shit. You know what I mean? Where he really made it his own and owned it. So, and he wasn't afraid to give me credit either. So you got to give him props. You know?
Well, that's dope too. Yeah, at least he didn't snag it completely from you.
No, I got a lot of money off that. I didn't even know that would ever happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you still get royalty checks off that, I bet.
For sure, dude. Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Sure, yeah.
That's dope, man. That's really crazy, actually, too. Because, like I said, I know that the Dilated, you guys did This Way with Kanye.
Yeah.
Which, growing up, that was like I fucking loved that joint. But yeah, I had no idea until I actually started reading into it a little bit. And I was like, oh, I had no idea Evidence actually did and I figured it kind of happened in that same pocket of time. Because you guys had the pre-College Dropout Kanye on This Way.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and that's actually the verse he dropped on your guys' joints, one of the nicest Kanye verses to this day, I think.
It's so funny, too, because our song was done, and then he was like, I want to rap on this with y'all. And I'm like, you got to ask Rock. Rock is like, all right. You know, like, he asked us to rap on it. It's so funny how things change.
Same word, eh?
How things change, you know?
It's funny, the history of things.
Yeah, man.
Like the same way Kanye gave Talib Kweli Get By for free.
For free.
It's like, it's just these things you learn, but like later on in history, you learn these things. That's really cool, though, man.
Sure.
That's dope that at least, you know, at least he did give you the credit on it. You know, a lot of producers in history are known to snag beats from people, and
nah, he didn't go that route.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. I had no idea actually that you played him the joints. So that's like next level shit, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
So to move forward to like the Dilated Peoples, you and Rekka, can we ever expect another Dilated Peoples
I don't know.
album?
You know, normally you say yeah, and that's the default is you just say yes forever, no matter what. You keep your options open. You know what I mean? But that's also unfair to fans who give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Give a shit, yeah.
Yeah. So now my answer is I don't really know at this point.
Really?
Because, well, you gotta understand. Pardon me. All I wanted to do was make a Dilated album, make some solo records, and then come back and make another Dilated after we had established our identities as solo artists.
Yeah.
And we did that. Directors of Photography came out on Rhymesayers in 2014, and I'm really proud of that record. But the reception, the awareness wasn't quite what I thought there was going to be more, you know?
Yeah.
And so like like you have a plan, and when you finally get to it, and then you cross that, then after that, it's not like I really know where I'm going at this point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so,
definitely.
So for when Rock is on my new album, Babu's on my new album, and working with them was easy as hell because it was for my album.
Yeah.
But when it's like 3 people who have to consciously hook up.
And everybody
A
has
certain time, certain hours amount of week, we don't hang out as much anymore. It becomes more of a job, And
Yeah.
I can't afford for Dilated to be a job. That's never gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
well, when it becomes a job too, then the music's not.
everything's gonna get fucked.
Yeah, it doesn't come out the way that it's supposed to either.
It can't. So I would say there will be another Dilated if somehow there's a pocket where Rock and I are just hanging out a lot for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And we're just magically just like making music for no other reason.
Yeah.
Then yeah, that could happen. But I just getting the budget, hooking up, and trying. Man, I think I've moved past that, and I don't mean like I moved past my guys.
No, because you guys, it's
No.
it's all good blood still.
I
Clearly,
respect
you
them
still
and I
work with
idolize
each
them.
other.
It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. It's just more like, time is everything. Time is the most important now.
Yeah.
And we just shouldn't be wasting it if it's not right.
Because I can't even lie, one of my favorite singles that I own on vinyl is the You Can't Run, You Can't Hide backside with
that was a dope.
Kindness for Weakness.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
Word up.
And even like Babu throws those little cuts on for at the very end, and like I even use those on a single. Always be true. Always be true.
No matter what you do.
That's one of my favorite singles that I own. So it would be really cool to see you guys get together. But at the same time, too, I totally understand where you're coming from because you can't force the music. It has to be something that's done when the influence, when it's natural.
Yeah, but for all the people who missed it, Directors of Photography, the most recent album we put out on Rhymesayers, I'm very proud of that. So check it out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And for that too, another thing I was wondering about is because when you guys did worst come to worst.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 kind of areas this question sprouts to, but the first being Alchemist produced it.
Yeah.
And so what's like, because then you did a whole album with Alchemist. What's like you're an Alchemist, like how did you guys whole link up to begin with that
Just
whole?
friends before music.
Oh really?
Yeah. Just since we're young,
Oh, say word, okay.
Yeah, so that just...
Because you guys are both West Coast dudes.
Yeah, that just, we were friends young, we were dancing before we were rapping.
Word,
You know what I mean? Yeah, so he's just been a friend forever, so it's like my real...
That's your real brother right
real
there.
best friend,
Yeah.
Rock is like my brother. He's like my real best friend.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Cool, man.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's dope. And the other thing I wanted to say that kind of sprouts out from that too is you guys had Guru Talk on it.
Yeah.
And so clearly you guys kind of had the Gangstar connection,
That was magical.
before they all went south with each other.
We didn't know we were getting that either. That was crazy because the song was produced by Alchemist and Premier walked in on the session. We did it at D&D.
Oh, word. Okay.
He was in the other room working with Freddie Fox, and he came in, and I remember him saying, "Oh man, y'all flipped that." He's like, "That's a special record." He kept telling Alchemist, "Damn, you flipped that." Okay, like he was really. He's like, I think he even said, "This got to be your first single, or we got a problem." Or I remember him being real adamant about "Worst Come to Worst," but then we didn't have a hook on it because we felt like the hook was just "Worst come to worst, my peoples come first." That's enough.
Yeah.
So there was this blank in the middle where we didn't quite know what to do there, and I thought maybe we get somebody to scratch. So we asked Alchemist when he was mixing, "Can you see if Premier will scratch right there?" And instead, I guess I wasn't there, but I guess Guru was in the room, and he just said, "I'll go in there and just say something." So when they sent the mix back to us from New York, and that part was in there, we flipped out because we didn't.
Yo, that's so cool.
Yeah, we didn't know that was coming.
And then he came out and did the video
And then
and
he showed
worded
it
it
for
in
the
for
video.
you guys.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
And then so that's where the Premier connection comes from too.
Yeah, definitely. And Eddie Sancho, our engineer, still to this day, he mixed that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope, man. Because then you continue to work with Primo throughout your whole solo career as well.
Yeah.
And the latest joint you guys just did, 10,000 Hours.
Yeah.
That shit's hot.
Thank you.
Primo's my favorite producer of all time.
Me too.
Like, so yeah, that's one thing I really was kind of curious about was that whole connection, and that's dope, man. And what about Babu? Because he wasn't a part of the group originally.
No, not originally, but he came in early enough to where it's pretty much
After the first few singles.
Yeah, exactly. Revolution was doing the cuts before that.
Oh shit, was he?
He did the cuts on Worked Angles.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. All right, cool, man. So moving forward, you just put out the Whether or Not album.
Yep.
I haven't had the chance to hear the whole album yet, but I've heard the few singles. You got Throw It All Away.
Yep.
You got Jim Dean. You
Yep.
got the 10,000 Hours of Primo.
And now Powder Cocaine with Slug.
Oh shit, that just came out?
The video did.
I didn't even see that yet.
That's crazy.
Dope. So is that what the encore is tonight?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Dope, man. Dope. So what was kind of, well, first off, I think the name of the album is cool, Whether or Not, the way you guys put, the creatively. So what was kind of the mind state going into making this project?
This is my last weather-related record. You know,
Yeah.
I got Weatherman, The Layover, which is obviously bad weather.
Yeah.
Cats and Dogs means heavy. And then Whether or Not, which is like take it or leave it, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Whether or Not means to me. And yeah, so it's this. I'm not tired of it, but this is like a. I don't want to make a Jaws 5 or Star Wars. I want to end this movie.
End the theme off proper.
Yeah, and then just move on to something creatively new that allows me to not be pigeonholed, you know, because the weather-related themes has been really good to make 4 albums. It makes a good record because everyone loves that kind of shit. But it's time for me to put that to bed and see what's next.
And
so this is just like throwing everything, throwing the kitchen sink at the fucking wall. You know what I mean? And just it's a really heavy record to me. I feel a lot of bangers and real going for it, kind of like big, and then just end strong.
And the title for it's perfect for that then too, right? Like Whether or Not.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's dope, man.
And it's double entendre, obviously, with the weather.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's cool too, cause like a lot of times with all the different album titles you had, I like how like throughout the songs in the album, you find ways to use the album title and to pitch it in with different songs to make it work for the songs. Even like it's just, I really like that about you, how you carry that creativity throughout the project. And you know what I mean? Like you keep it, it's like almost like, you know, with the early Jay-Z albums and some of them and stuff, you know, how you got that, you continue the theme even without completely continuing the theme. You don't have to make the whole album about one thing.
No, you just allude to it, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. So that's dope, man. That's really dope. I like that. And do you have a favorite single out of what you dropped so far?
You know, it's funny. It's really true. It's really true. Is like I'm learning more and more. Is like you're the chef, you know, and you make this menu of everything you think they're gonna like, and you put a star next to the one you think they're really gonna like, you know, and then
they like everything else.
They like everything else. So, you know what I mean? You got to create it like you hope everyone's the best, but how they take it and they throw it back at you, and compliments to the chef come from something else. You know, it's so weird. So. You know, I think Powder Cocaine sounds like a hit record, you know, but they're saying every word to throw it all away really loud, and I didn't intend for that chorus to even be a call and response chorus, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't understand sometimes, you know? But that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's weird, and you know, me being an artist myself too, I mean, not on anywhere near your level, but I agree with that 100%. I've made records where I'm like, this is the one, you put it out, and it's slapped on completely, and then you put out a record, like, yeah, this is aight. And then people are like, yo, that shit joint. And you're like, alright.
Sometimes it's the when you're not trying so hard.
Yeah, and I like the way you word it. It's like you're the chef, you prepare the menu. That was actually a great analogy to it. That's dope. And you hit number 9 on the US Indie album charts with it as well.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah, that was complete. I wasn't expected. I took a long break as a solo artist and just didn't expect people to rush the record. You know what I mean? And so the fact that they did was really crazy because it's a declining market.
Yeah.
And I've taken a big break from my evidence, even though I've been active with Step Brothers, I've been active with Dilated Peoples, I've been producing Mad Child, fucking Krondon, Defari, Damo Genesis, I've been doing mad shit.
Oh, you produced for Damo?
I did his whole last EP. I
didn't even realize that. That's crazy.
It came out a couple months ago. It's called Aren't You Glad You're You, and I did all of it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and the singles with Fonte. People were liking that one a lot.
Fonte is fucking, he's slept on too, man. He's top tier MC right there.
He just put out a new album. It's amazing.
I didn't even hear that yet. The last one I heard was the
Charity Starts at Home. But
Charity Starts at Home, yeah.
The new one's out right now. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of really good shit going on. But yeah, thank you to everybody who's supporting the album. I think a lot of people bought the physical in the streaming market, and that shows a lot.
Yeah, and it's dope too, man. Like the artwork, like for the people who have the chance as well. You know, we got it here, but the artwork on this stuff, if you go, especially by the vinyl, the way that it's set out, you got the blue records that match the
The sticker.
The sticker, it's set out from an artist's point of view, and you can tell that he takes the artistic side very professionally, aside from just the music.
Word.
And it's really dope. So it's got a book in there and everything. So I advise the people, especially if you got vinyl, if you got a record player at home, don't buy it digitally. Don't buy the CD.
Like that too. Same.
Is the CD like that too?
Yep.
Well, buy the CD or buy the vinyl, because that's cool, man. And that's one thing I think that the game is missing right now, is people who take the artwork seriously. That's my favorite thing about buying a project.
For sure.
Is to be able to surf the liner notes, look at it, like look at a physical piece of music, and when you take it that seriously too, the colored vinyl, everything, like that's so cool. I love that. That's one thing I really think
that's what Rhymesayers, they do that so well, you know.
And that's actually one thing I want to talk about too before we wrap it up, is even signing with Rhymesayers. How did that whole thing come about? Like, how did you and Slug even, like, how did this whole thing even come about?
Slug was featured on The Weatherman, my first solo album. We have a song called Lion Scrimmage, you know, and I put him over an Alchemist beat, which was just interesting, you know. And
Yeah, something different for Slug.
yeah, and then I put him on Cats and Dogs again with Late for the Sky. Well, I had already been signed, but and he's on my new album. So him and I creatively have gelled really well, you know. And once that first record got done, that's when I got on their radar, and I was building my buzz, and I came to a point where I had some offers on the table from other labels, and so I honestly stepped to them, if you want to be honest.
Oh, word.
Yeah, and I just said, hey, they were watching, you know what I mean? But I just said, time's up. I've got these offers. Can you match it? You know? And they actually said, yeah, we can match that. You know, and it was a nice amount of money, and I was like, wow, let's go.
Dope.
And so yeah, you know, the Rhymesayers is interesting because it's a crew.
Yeah.
And it's a label. So like most people want to fuck the label. The label's like the man trying to hold the artist down. You know what I mean? That's like always the attitude. But when you're on a label that's like a crew and a label, it blurs that a lot. And so it's a really interesting place to be at. And they've proven to me from the time I've been there till now that their business is straight. And
It's on point.
It's on point. I can say I've earned with them, and it's inspiring to make what you love and actually make a living off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because one thing I've thought is crazy and really dope about Rhymesayers too is, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, this statistic is a few years ago, but they are the most successful independent label.
I don't know. I mean,
aside from, I think, maybe strange music
Yeah.
and maybe psychological at certain points, but
I don't know. There's
I know,
Stones Throw. There's a lot of great labels, man. You know what I mean? Who are
Yeah.
indie doing their thing, and I'm not here to check the books and see who's. You know what I
No,
mean? But the power of Rhymesayers is definitely more than just a record label.
Oh yeah, they're strong, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a good pocket for you to be in too. Like artistically, I think it's just it suits you. You know what I mean?
It's the best thing for me because there's nobody who sounds like me, and I can totally be me, and they don't want me to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They allow you your complete creativity.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's really dope. And before we wrap it up, there's just one more thing I was curious about. Because you are an MC, I mean, we already talked about the graffiti, but when it comes to MCing and production, what do you prefer doing most?
I would say it sounds weird because I'm a performer, but I would say I'm a beat maker who writes, who also raps. But that's a little weird to tell that crowd that.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I blurred the line well, but I'll say like I've used their names before, but I'll use them again. Like my friend Fashion.
Yeah.
Mad Child, who you guys might know, obviously.
Oh, I definitely know Mad Child. Salute to Mad Child.
Okay, so like people like them, they have so many books of fucking rhymes. It's a joke. Like they come to my house and like drop the duffel bag and like pick it up and start looking through, or pick. I mean, they wake up and they don't make beats, so they just write.
Rap.
And they write and they write and they write and there's. I don't do that. I don't have any books. I don't keep my rhymes. It's nothing. I wake up, I get high, I get my coffee, I go through my records, start making my beats, and then once the beat is telling me
that this is something you need to write.
Then it's just like I don't even think about it. I just write down what happens. I'm not like technically like, is this syllable matching this? How many?
Yeah.
I don't even know about a lot of those things that like.
See, sometimes I can be your worst enemy because I'm one of those guys. I look at everything technically, and
And
sometimes that's your worst enemy, my man.
It also puts you in a certain caliber. So there's those people who match syllables and they got things and they can do like, I mean, they're really like, it's like some wild shit. And I respect them and I love it, you know, but it's not what comes to my heart. You know what I mean? So like I'm sure there's times where I've made choices where I could have rhymed 2 syllables and I just rhymed the last because, you know, I wasn't even thinking about that. No, I was just doing what was happening. So this record I'm proud of because I use my eraser more than normal. You know, and I check myself and I push myself to not do that a little bit. You know.
And do you think working with those artists as a producer kind of helped you to push your eraser a little bit like
100%. But then also rapping with Rhapsody, rapping with Makami, rapping with Slug, rapping with fucking Rocka, rapping with Styles P, rapping with.
You got Styles on there.
Yeah, crying on John Wayne, who's murderous. You know what I mean?
Yo.
These people would make you rethink your shit. So I didn't. John Wayne is the only song where I heard his rhyme and was like.
And you went back and repent your shit?
I didn't repunch. I just wrote a whole new thing. You know what I mean? I was like, okay. But I still brought him the concept, what to talk about, what to end his verse with. You know, so I'm still producing at the same time. And but yeah, no.
So you say producer probably?
Yeah, I'm semi-producer.
Word. And out of like having programs or equipment, is there a preference you have, or do you kind of just like to blend everything, you use everything?
Yeah, I've dabbled in the software, but I'm back to the hardware. I'm really just an ASR 10 guy, you know, and I never could shed it. So it's what I learned on. It's if the lights go out, my hands just muscle memory do it. You know what I mean? And that's what you need to work on. I'd tell anybody, just work whatever.
What works with you?
Yeah, software was making me fall asleep while I was making beats.
Yeah.
It's not it for me. I can't be looking at a laptop and going back here, and it's just not. The new motherfucker, that's their home. That's what they love.
Yeah.
They can't, what I'm doing.
I'm a software guy myself,
So
but
you already know. Then,
yeah.
And that's. I don't really give a fuck how it gets made. I just want to like it.
As long as it's dope.
Yeah, that's it.
Word up, man. And one last question that we ask everybody. If you could translate your lyrical style into a Mortal Kombat finishing move, what would it do to your opponent?
We'd have to do Street Fighter because I never play Mortal Kombat.
All right,
I only know what's the one thing from fatality, right? That's
the fatality. That's what we're talking about. What would your fatality be? But you make it up.
No, I don't even know what the versions are. I never even played that game.
Okay, but so basically, it would just be like if you made it up off the top of your
dome. If it was Street Fighter, Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom.
Yeah, let's go.
Word up,
or
man.
Fucking. I don't know.
Some shit like that.
I'm too high for that shit.
You bang the head in with the keys of the MP and fucking crack them open, some shit.
I just get pissed and throw the whole fucking game. Tip the arcade game over.
Word up, man. Thank you, Evidence.
Man,
we appreciate your time.
Love, man.
One love, brother.